Welcome back to the War Room. I'm your host, Roger Stone, with my colleague, Owen Schroyer. It's great to be back with you. As some of you may know, I am being sued in a New York courtroom in a completely frivolous harassment lawsuit by a perpetual sore loser who was defeated in a campaign many, many years ago. This suit will come to trial on the 27th, and I will triumph. But that did keep me off the air here at the War Room, and therefore I'm sorry to say I missed you all. If you're watching closely, you can see I am wearing the In Your Face InfoWars t-shirt as a reminder that these terrific items can be found right now at the Infowars.com store. These First Amendment-oriented t-shirts are a bargain. And right now, many of them are marked down to about 50% off. So if you really want to aggravate a snowflake, if you really want to set off a liberal, believe me, as I learned in Manhattan only last week, the t-shirt I am wearing will really do the job. And when you go to the Infowars.com store to pick up one of these terrific items, you help yourself. And you've got something you can wear every day to commune with like-minded patriots and also identify the libtards in your universe. But you also help us with the expansion of InfoWars. We are the cutting edge of the resistance to the globalists and the two-party duopoly that have run this country into the gutter. We can't depend on a George Soros or a David Rockefeller to subsidize what we do here at InfoWars. We can only count on you. So please go to the store, look at the terrific bargains there, whether it is the all natural supplements or whether it are things like the great InfoWars In Your Face t-shirt, and order today. Oh, and it seems to me that sexual harassment is breaking out all over. New revelations today on Bill Clinton. We have a terrific story in Breitbart by Aaron Klein, in my opinion, one of the very best investigative reporters working in the country today. A very, very detailed and very tightly documented piece on a woman named Leslie Milwee, who was a newscaster and a television journalist in Arkansas, repeatedly assaulted by Bill Clinton. An extraordinary read, which I commend to you. And then additionally, a terrific story headlined in the UK Daily Mail by the other Klein, Ed Klein. He is the reporter that the Clintons love to hate, but I must tell you, Ed Klein has a record for journalistic integrity and accuracy that is unparalleled in this country. Ed Klein is without question one of the very best journalists working today. He has been fearless in his apprehension of the facts regarding both the Obamas and the Clintons. And what he tells us is that at least 4 women have come forward to say that they were sexually harassed by the former president aboard the private jet owned by his then running buddy, billionaire Ron Burkle. Now, Burkle and Clinton have become disaffected, but what's most interesting about this particular story, Owen, is that Hillary Clinton's response to this, even in Bill's post-presidential years, was to hire private detectives to dig up dirt on the 4 women who were offended by being assaulted by her husband. So the point you were making in the last segment, Owen, is exactly true. While Bill is being held somewhat responsible today, what of Hillary? Let's be as clear as we possibly can. Hillary Clinton is the person who handles the cover-up. Hillary Clinton is the person who hires the heavy-handed private detectives and the nasty lawyers to harass Kathleen Willey and Juanita Broderick, and many, many others. Now, if this subject interests you, if you want to know more about the Clintons' war on women, well, you can go right now to the Infowars.com website, go to the store, and buy The Clintons' War on Women by Roger Stone. This is the definitive book on the hypocrisy and the criminal activities of the Clintons. It goes well beyond their abuse of women. This book will shock you, and stories like today lead me to believe that it's time for this book to be updated. Maybe I'll put a couple new chapters on it and release it next year. But in the meantime, if you want to know what's the entire background on the two greatest criminals to ever grace the White House, the Clintons' war on women, now at the Infowars.com store. Owen, as you may have noticed, my epic struggle with Twitter continued this weekend when Twitter went so far as to shut down and permanently suspend Stone Cold Truth and also Stone Zone tweets. Now, neither of one of these feeds is under my direct control. All Twitter is doing is adding to their liability for my upcoming lawsuit against them. What do you think?
Well, I was shocked that, well, I guess not shocked, but considering the current litigation, that Twitter would censor those two other accounts that are not directly affiliated with you, just people that follow your activity, that they would do that, giving you more ammo. But I guess these are not the smartest people handling Twitter's side of things here.
Well, the arrogance is really what's most interesting. They're extraordinarily arrogant. I really do think, having met with, I think, dozens of very fine lawyers in the last 2 weeks, we have a very strong and also very broad case. I mean, I don't want to try the case here on InfoWars, but there are First Amendment issues. There are antitrust issues. There are service contract violation issues. Many are urging us to broaden this lawsuit out to include other tech giants that have been involved in broad censorship. I had a great conversation with my friend Milo the other night. He is going to be joining the lawsuit most likely by filing an amicus brief or by joining a class of others who have been censored. Interestingly, there was a feed called Roger Stone GOP, clearly marked a parody site, up on Twitter for 2 years, tweeting occasionally, and even they were banned. So Twitter will get their just desserts. But one interesting thing was revealed, and I think, Owen, you will particularly like this. It was evidently not my tweet in which I suggested some bad things about Don Limon. No, it was the precious snowflake, Jake Tapper. Jake felt threatened. Jake, light in the loafers Tapper, the worst non-journalist working in America today. He was threatened. Aw.
Well, I've been covering Roger Stone for a long time, and I saw what Roger tweeted about me, and I just gotta say, Roger, I was very offended, and I'm glad that Twitter has taken action to get your bigoted tweets off of Twitter.
Wow, Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper, we just got a word from Jake. All right, we'll be right back with more from Roger Stone.
Welcome back to the War Room. As you can see, the fashion show continues. Now I'm wearing the iconic Hillary for Prison t-shirt. Well, this happens to be the 2017 model, showing that we have not given up the fight. Knowing Alex Jones as I do, he'll probably produce Hillary for Prison 2018 shirts and then 2019 shirts. In fact, we're going to keep producing this until she rots in a federal penitentiary, where she would be if she were an average citizen. You see, there are certain rules for the elites, but you can help the expansion here at InfoWars. You can help keep us on the air and keep us reaching millions of new patriots by going to the Infowars.com store now and getting your very own Hillary for Prison 2017 t-shirt. Believe me, these trigger the snowflakes as well, as you will learn as soon as you wear one in public. What I found is when I'm wearing mine, people at first look at it, assume that I'm a Hillary supporter, give me a dirty look, then they look a little closer and they start laughing. That's the very best result you can have. Oh, and it's very interesting. I wasn't able to be with you prior to the news breaking regarding Al Franken. As you know, I broke the news on Al Franken, first at Big League Politics and then at InfoWars. And the snowflakes went totally insane, somehow implying that the fact that I reported this meant that I was somehow orchestrating it. Now, I don't know Miss Tweeden. I've never had any contact with her or her lawyers or her legal team. I merely heard from an excellent source inside the Fox News organization based in New York City that this was going to break imminently, and we immediately went to the public through both Big League Politics and concurrently with InfoWars. Big League Politics, in all honesty, because I don't have a Twitter feed, and the great Rob Dew was what most people are doing at 2 o'clock in the morning, actually 1:30 Eastern time. He was asleep. So in order to get this to the public, we went immediately to those feeds that were available to us. And now, incredibly, Owen, I'm sure you saw this, a second woman has come forward to say that she was assaulted by Senator Franken, and that in 2010. How soon will they accuse me of orchestrating that?
Well, Roger, it's amazing because just like any other of these stories, you can usually get it first right here at Infowars.com. And I had reported, despite them shutting you down off Twitter, you were still able to get that information out. And I said it before it came down too, because people were kind of calling like, what do you think is next? I was like, look, the louder they scream, the more guilty they are of something. Al Franken was one name that was brought up. But here's a question I have for you, Roger. How much of this behind the scenes is kind of a civil war in and of itself, where the more the left tries to come out and attack Republicans, attack Trump, attack more, people from the conservative side will be like, okay, fine, I'll go ahead and out one of you then. And so Leanne Tweeden comes out. She's like, look, I got a picture of this guy. I know he's a creep. We can put him on blast. How much of that is going on behind the scenes?
Well, we have a genuine hysteria going on here in the country. It's interesting. I predicted on, I guess it was Friday, that Al Franken would be, quote, next in the barrel. Little did I suspect that the next guy in the barrel would be Bill Clinton. He's had some previous experience in the barrel, and now he is back in the barrel with these new revelations by both Aaron Klein of Breitbart and Ed Klein, covered in the UK Daily Mail. Who will be in the barrel next? It's hard to say, but
Roger, I think we may have a name actually here. This is breaking right now from the Washington Post. 8 women say Charlie Rose sexually harassed them with nudity, groping, and lewd calls. Oh, Charlie Rose, CBS, Bloomberg. What do you think about that? This is breaking right now, Roger.
Well, you know what? I would like to read the specifics before I condemn any man or any woman for that matter. I know Charlie Rose quite well. I've been on his program a number of times. I'm going to reserve judgment until I read the facts because, as we see in the case of Judge Moore, sometimes these claims can be thin and therefore a rush to judgment, a rush to condemn somebody over things that may have happened 30, in some cases 40 years ago. I would urge some caution. In the case of Al Franken, Miss Tweeden had a photograph and witnesses, and therefore his behavior is not consistent with the radical feminist ideology that he affects within the U.S. Senate. What will happen in the Senate Ethics Committee is most interesting to me because, as you know, Franken has not been convicted of a crime. And therefore, in this case, the Senate would have to determine that he had actually engaged in conduct unbecoming of a senator, which shed a negative light on that body. we shall see how that goes down. Are we setting a precedent, perhaps, for Senator Moore should he win? Because whatever happens to Franken would be likely to happen to Moore. Again, neither man convicted in a court of law of sexual harassment. This is an open question in terms of where this is going to go.
Well, it's a political agenda, Roger, and they're trying to create an environment where all you have to do is say, I accuse you, and then you're guilty. It looks like they're even starting to sacrifice some of their own, or maybe they were, maybe Charlie Rose was actually caught up in this stuff. I'm reading the story. It has a lot of similarities with some of the other stuff. Oh, it's just happened at the time. These women came up. It was a scarce job opportunity, so they did what they could to get it. I'm on the same side as you. Let's wait. Same thing with Glenn Thrush. I'm not a fan of Glenn Thrush by any stretch of the imagination. However, if I get accused of some sexual improprieties that I'm not anywhere close to guilty of, I'd want Glenn Thrush to stand up for me. So I'm not going to rush to judgment. I'm with you there too. Real quick before the break,
I do have to say I am kind of tickled about the reports regarding former President George H.W. Bush, who evidently thought that this was a hysterical joke. Just before he would grab some woman's derriere, he would say, "You know who my favorite magician is? David Copperfield." And then he would grab them. If you have missed my book, The Bush Crime Family, Sexual Crimes Are Not Unknown to the Bush Clan, you can also pick that book up, I believe, at the Infowars.com store and help further the revolution. Bush and the Jeb crime family, and the Bush, pardon me, Jeb and the Bush crime family, available now at the Infowars store.
That's Roger Stone. We've got 2 more segments with him. We're going to continue to break it all down. Bill Clinton has new allegations against him. What are the Clintons thinking right now? This is The War Room. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. That's right. You're in the right place now. You're at the War Room with Roger Stone and Owen Schroyer. This is part of our substantial expansion of programming here at InfoWars, where we now are live 10 hours a day. You can catch David Knight with the news in the morning. Of course, the great Alex Jones midday. And then Owen Schroyer and I pick it up in the afternoon. And this is just the beginning of what you are going to see. When I was in Austin recently, I toured the new studio in construction, and it is going to be absolutely state-of-the-art. So make sure you catch Real News with David Knight. Don't forget to miss out to catch Alex Jones midday. And, of course, here we are at the War Room. Owen, I know you have a few things you want to talk about. The floor is yours.
All right, Roger. I want to get into what we're seeing with Bill and Hillary Clinton right now. I played a clip earlier. I mean, look, this is a couple. They're way too old. They're way too decrepit. I mean, look at President Trump. I mean, you know, he's 70 years old, but he's still kicking full energy. Hillary Clinton is not. Clearly unhealthy. Bill Clinton, we can only imagine what sort of health issues he might be having. But the last time two of them spoke, they literally looked like a couple sitting in an old folks home, you know, someone that needs them to bring food and, you know, to bathe them and everything, like they could barely even last on their own. So I'm just curious, Roger, where do you think Bill Clinton is right now in all of this? To me, I look at Bill Clinton as someone who wants to disappear. He wishes that none of this was still going on. He doesn't want the spotlight on him. But Hillary Clinton, the pride, the demon that possesses Hillary Clinton is so prideful, she can't let it go. She still thinks she has the right to the presidency. So she's going to continue to try to stay in the front fold despite the Democrats trying to throw her under the bus. But what do you think about Bill Clinton? Do you think he wants this to disappear, or is he enjoying the ride?
Well, frankly, let's be very clear. They are living separately as they have been for many years. This has always been a marriage of convenience. Bill is not Chelsea's father. Webster Hubbell is Chelsea's biological father. You can find the documentation in the Clintons' War on Women, available at the Infowars.com store. We know that Bill fathered a child, Danny Williams, an African-American then boy, now a man, and it was
Which, by the way,
Hillary.
have you talked to him lately? He hasn't tweeted in like weeks. Is he okay?
I have talked to him, and there will be some major revelations there very shortly.
Okay, good.
Stay tuned. But Hillary is driven largely by greed and entitlement. She has always believed that she was more talented and smarter and certainly more disciplined than her playboy husband. And therefore, having put him into the White House, she thought she was next. She was, of course, epically teed off about the fact that Barack Obama, who they considered a nobody, a nothing, appeared out of nowhere and thwarted her ambitions 8 years ago. But then, you see, they saw Donald Trump coming down the pike. What a patsy, Donald Trump. God, we'll beat this guy. He's so politically incorrect. He's so not ready for prime time. Just as Jimmy Carter's chief advisors wanted to run against the great Ronald Reagan, thinking he was a pushover, the Clintons actually wanted to run against Donald Trump. And ironically, Owen, Donald Trump was the only Republican who could beat the vaunted Clinton machine, the only one with the guts and the courage to take him on frontally. Do you think any one of these other Republicans would have pointed out that Bill was a rapist and that Hillary ran the cover-up? Not a chance. Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, John the Snowflake Kasich in the club with the Clintons. We can't get down and dirty. We're all in the same club. We elected the one man who's not in the club, the one man who answers only to the American people instead of the political insiders in Washington, D.C.
Speaking of clubs, like maybe one that you keep in your pants, you believe that Michelle Obama is going to be running for president in 2020 representing the Democrats. I have a question for you. If that's the case, one, I was actually a little bit frightened by a potential Michelle Obama ticket. She kind of has the cult of personality and the minions behind her. Then this story came out of Grabian. Obama's work cameo into American Music Awards, boast of giving Diana Ross Medal of Freedom. Then I saw the response to this, and basically everyone's like, we're sick of the Obamas. Just go away already. We're done with you. Obama endorsed Hillary. Hillary still couldn't win. Do you think Michelle has enough to be victorious? And if that's the case, if we get out ahead of Michelle Obama's campaign and start acting like she's running now and start attacking her now, or kind of drum up the excitement now of a Michelle Obama campaign so that when the time comes and she's running, that excitement is kind of like, you know, withered away. Is that something that, you know, we could do to help Trump go against Michelle Obama in 2020 if that is the case?
Well, first of all, Owen, let me say that I watched the president's speech the other day when he stopped to have a drink of water. So I now know this is perfectly acceptable here at InfoWars, what we call doing the full Marco Rubio. Actually, I believe that it would be a mistake to underestimate Michelle Obama and her political appeal. It would be also a mistake not to recognize that the Obama Justice Department strung Hillary Clinton out over her emails, so much so that we know from the reporter Ed Klein, who had impeccable sources, that Hillary Clinton barked at the president, "Call off your dogs, Barack," although I thought she should call him Mr. President. There's no love lost between these Arkansas hillbillies who would steal a hot stove and the Obamas. And make no mistake about it, Barack Obama still controls the machinery of the Democratic Party. And therefore, when you look at this weak collection of candidates that the Democrats are talking about, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, please, Michelle Obama would roll through that field like, like a hot knife through butter. She's going to be the Democratic nominee. What you're going to see, Owen, is her making more and more substantive speeches, moving more and more to the substantive side. And I predicted it here on this show, that she will be the Democratic nominee. And I stand by that prediction. Now, most people that I bring this up with either don't believe it or think that the American people are as fed up with the Obamas as they are with the Clintons. None of the polling data that I have examined shows that that is the case. The Clintons have worn out their welcome. While Barack Obama and his wife are very polarizing, it does not have, the negative strength that the Clintons demonstrate in all of the polling. The American people are completely, totally fed up with the Clintons. They just would like them to ride off into the sunset with their stolen millions to never be heard from again. But as Alex Jones and I said the other day on the Alex Jones Show, Hillary 2020, go for it, gal. We couldn't wait. It would be another landslide. It would be another pulverization.
Yeah, and that's what President Trump has said as well. He's actually said that on Twitter multiple times, Hillary, please run again. But I just get the feeling that if we can get out ahead of the Michelle Obama campaign, and just like you've predicted it, if we can predict it and then kind of as if it's us announcing Michelle's campaign before she even announces it, like steal the momentum and steal the excitement from that campaign so that it can never really get off the ground. I don't know. I feel like that's a psychological tactic we could use. 20 seconds. What do you think, Roger?
Maybe you should form the Draft Michelle Obama Committee. Owen Schroyer, chairman.
Yes. So I could spearhead getting Michelle Obama to run for Democrat 2020. Then there's no way they could do it. Not if Schroyer's behind it, not the white male.
Welcome back to the War Room. I'm Roger Stone with my colleague Owen Schroyer. I want to tell you about our Black Friday, Cyber Monday specials coming up. Over the next week, the folks here at InfoWars will be launching a series of new sales every single day, leading up to our special 34-hour broadcast, which begins on Monday, the 27th at 8 a.m. These are going to be some of the biggest specials we've ever had. They're so good. In all honesty, I can't figure out how Alex Jones and the InfoWars folks are making money giving you these terrific products for so little. Today, you can get BrainForce, my personal favorite, at 50% off. BrainForce Plus, it may be the single best-selling product we have here at InfoWars. This may be the best formula ever made, and many members of the InfoWars crew, including myself, use it every day. These ingredients are known to boost your mind and the thinking process. Now, we have a very limited supply, and when we're out, that will be it for this year. It won't be available again until next year, so don't get caught short. This has happened to me before. You might want to get on the auto ship program, which gives you not only free shipping, but you will never be without your favorite product. So believe me, these are among the biggest sales we've ever had, and it is absolutely essential that you participate in these promotions if we want to keep the Infowars.com expansion on track. You see, we've got to counteract ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and yes, the snowflakes like Don Lemon and fake Tapper at CNN, and we've got to do it all by ourselves. We're really the only multimedia resistance vehicle out there that you can listen to us on the radio, you can read us on the internet, and you can see us live. This is not inexpensive, and Alex Jones keeps the entire ship moving forward only because of your loyal support for the InfoWars products, available only at the Infowars.com store. So please, folks, give us a hand today. And as Owen Schroyer likes to say, you can kick George Soros right in the derriere by going now to the Infowars.com site.
Or for today's broadcast, we'll say put a thumb in Jake Tapper's eye.
I like it. I like it. So, Owen, you have a few more items that are newsworthy. Let's go to your agenda.
Well, so we just had the latest accusation come down against Charlie Rose here. Again, this is all alleged, as are almost all of these sexual assault deals that are being reported in the media. You know, no judge, no jury, no trial, no justice, really, no litigation, except for a very minor few. But, you know, it's reached a point, Roger, where I'm just sitting here wondering, it's like, who even wants to go on a date in this atmosphere? I mean, you could go on a date with a woman and then look at her the wrong way, maybe going for a kiss, get rejected, and all of a sudden you're a rapist. I mean, this is like, it's like they're having it's like a double-edged attack where they're not only trying to politicize sexual harassment to attack their enemies, but I think they also on the back end want to like make men afraid to actually go out on a date with a woman and maybe even, you know, try to have a real relationship with her because he doesn't want to be considered, you know, a rapist or a harasser or anything.
Look, no means no. This is pretty simple. And I can see out that you, Owen, are speaking as a man rather than speaking in this case as a conservative or a liberty-minded pundit. But the Democratic Party is now eating its own. There is a feeding frenzy largely based around the fact that they are the ones who've embraced the radical feminist agenda. And therefore, they are the ones who look so incredibly hypocritical. Harvey Weinstein is the prime example of the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party, lavished with praise by the Clintons, writing multi-million-dollar checks for the crazy left, 100% on board with the feminist agenda when he isn't physically and repulsively assaulting women. There is the symbol of the Democratic Party, if you will.
Well, and Harvey Weinstein, let's not forget, was also praised by Michelle Obama, which I am now spearheading as a conservative. Michelle Obama 2020, I'm now leading the campaign. I am now taking it by the reins. It's already been rumored that she's going to run, so now I am deciding I'm going to foist Michelle into the Democrat nomination. I want Michelle to run for office. Let's get out ahead of it. Let's get the excitement out of the way. But honestly, how ridiculous. What has Michelle Obama ever done with her life that she should even be allowed to grace a podium in a debate against Donald Trump? I mean, that in itself is hysterical.
Well, but we are in an era where name identification and celebrity, without any question, qualify one to run for public office. So I myself would not use that argument, whether it is Arnold Schwarzenegger or whether it is actor Ronald Reagan or whether it is businessman Donald Trump. The truth is, most American voters like candidates who come to the political arena or to leadership from some other walk of life, from some other discipline. There has never been a time in our country where Americans are tired, more tired and more disgusted by career politicians of both parties, as well as political institutions such as the Congress, the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, the big media, the big corporate multinational media. There is a real opening, as we have seen, for outsiders. Now, it would be tough for Michelle Obama to call herself an outsider. Pardon me. But the fact that she has not held political office previously will not be held against her by the American public. And in all honesty, the job of First Lady is a job with real responsibilities. She's universally known. That's why I'm glad that you are spearheading her draft committee, Owen. She is going to be the Democratic nominee. Mark my words.
You heard it here first from Roger Stone on the War Room. I decided to take the reins of this campaign. We're gonna get Michelle Obama against President Trump, and we're gonna steal the energy from that. One last question I have here for Roger Stone. There's Michelle Obama there. I'm gonna go back in time, Roger. I want to ask you a question. I'm going back in time here. Donald Trump tweeted this out on October 11th, 2012. He tweeted a WorldNet Daily story, Obama's ring, there is no God but Allah, talking about a ring Obama was wearing. Donald Trump tweets out, why does Barack Obama's ring have an Arabic inscription? Who is this guy? Well, we've talked about who Obama really is, but I don't want to hear from us or talk about Obama, who really is. What I want to know, Roger, is how much does Donald Trump really know? Does Trump know more than he's letting on? This is the same man that tweeted out people who take advantage of children ought to be dead, receive the death penalty. He tweets out about Barack Obama's ring. He tweets out the stories about his fake birth certificate. How much does Donald Trump really know that he's not really letting the public know he's privy to?
Well, I think there's a difference between Donald Trump then and Donald Trump now. As I told the Associated Press the other day, if the Trump presidency fails, it will be because he has inadvertently surrounded himself with Bush quislings, people who intrinsically oppose his policies of non-interventionism and his belief in American exceptionalism and American sovereignty. The people around him are more dangerous than the liberal Democrats. In his heart, Donald Trump knows the truth, and he has never been afraid to speak the truth. But we're waiting for him to come back here at Infowars.com. He did a star turn here, was a major factor in his ability to win the nomination. And I want him to know right now, he is welcome at Infowars.com anytime.
Well, we are not even a year into his presidency, Roger, and we're already seeing President Trump with the Trump base, the Trump movement, change the world. And it's really incredible that we're living through these historic times. A lot of people don't even realize it, Roger.
Well, record stock market, unemployment at an all-time low, and Americans proud to be Americans again. No, you're right. He's not popular in Malibu and the Upper West Side in Manhattan. But you go to flyover country, you go where the real Americans are, people love Donald Trump and they love Melania, and they see that he is slowly turning the ship around and he's going to make America great again.
2 steps.